Hey guys, welcome to LoveCast, the podcast reviews. Today we're going to be reviewing the Japanese drama, A Man Who Defies the World of BL. I'm your host, Alexa, and with me are my co-hosts, Pixie and Kayla.
Hey.
Yay! So, A Man Who Defies the World of BL, I'm not even going to attempt the full Japanese title because I know I will butcher it, but I know people have called it also Zetai BL for short. It's a short Japanese drama, roughly 2 hours in length, and you can watch it on WeTV. You will need to VPN. I had to VPN to Thailand to watch it, but it's free. Otherwise, you won't need their VIP subscription or anything. So you'll just need a VPN, and then you can get it on WeTV in HD with subs. And to give a short description on it, it is a story about a man named Mobu who realizes that he is living basically in a BL manga world and he is straight. So the whole story is about him trying to do whatever he can to avoid ending up in a BL romance. So, what are your guys' initial thoughts on the show? I know you guys have a lot.
Yeah, so I watched this when it aired. So I tried to rewatch it a little bit just like today and yesterday because it's a lot of stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
And since it's based off of a manga, it's very like the story is about BL tropes, but mostly like BL tropes in manga.
Mm-hmm.
It's very typical for the stuff you find in mangas, which makes it ridiculous at times, but that's sort of the point because it's supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
I think like it's one of the funniest shows I've seen. And I was a little bit unsure on how they would handle the whole adapting it to a TV series, but they did a really good job. And it was interesting to watch, even with all the different stuff happening. I won't go into much detail because this is like the non-detailed part. But yeah, I like my general opinion on it. I really liked it, and I loved seeing like a comedy BL because that doesn't happen often.
Yeah, I agree about it being one of the funniest things I've watched in a while. I think the fact that everything is so over exaggerated
Mm-hmm.
was done very purposefully.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just think it's very clever how they poked fun at so many different tropes. Like, there's just a list. I probably missed some of the things that they were making fun of, and it just went over my head. There were so many.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. I really liked Mobu's internal monologue and his like very over exaggerated way of like watching people fall into the quote unquote traps that they set up for like the romance, the stereotypical romance tropes. I loved how like every time someone fell into them, it was like he was sending his friend off to war or something like that. He's like, ah, we've lost another one. I just thought he was so funny and it was really clever to show like basically what the inside of a BL manga looks like from someone who's not the main character, as he said. So I thought it was really, really interesting to watch.
It's hilarious how the whole time he's so afraid of turning gay. And he's trying to constantly avoid putting himself in these situations where someone could come on to him or he could give someone the wrong idea. It's just so interesting. I would never think to write something like that.
Yeah. The fixation on just like trying to avoid boys' love. It's amazing. And for anyone who's seen Cherry Magic, you're gonna see one familiar face at least. Yutaro, who played Minato in Cherry Magic, is the little brother here.
Oh, he's adorable.
He is. And I was like, okay, this is a spoiler. I won't say it. I'll leave it. I'll leave it for the next part.
This is why people have to join our Patreon to get the spoiler details. But yeah, it was so short and it was so easy to watch, and we were kind of talking about like the before we started recording the way they have chopped it up into like chapters and how each one is kind of its own story focusing on a specific trope or a specific person in his life. I really enjoyed it, and I like that like he was the one constant thing throughout it. Like you did kind of see other characters pop up here and there throughout the stories, like especially like his brother and stuff like that. But I like that it was kind of like him navigating all these different chapters, but each chapter was like a different person and a different trope and brought something new to the story.
Yeah, it was very easy to consume, especially if you have a short attention span, which I most definitely do.
Yeah.
The way it's divided makes it very easy to watch in one sitting.
Yeah, and I have to say, like the intro song, the Mobu
It's amazing.
song, it is so amazing. I haven't been able to get it out of my head since I first watched it.
Oh my God,
like I had to go on to ETV and do a phone recording of the song because I can't find it anywhere else. Just so I can have it on somewhere so I can listen to it more than once.
God,
it's so amazing.
So funny with like that was that like 70s theme, like
outfits, disco
like
theme. Yeah. It was amazing. And them just dancing and it was so awesome. So ratings?
Honestly, I think I would give it a 5 because it's just so fun to watch. Like it really is a fun experience. There's nothing that's too heavy in it. Even when he does touch on things that might be considered like controversial, it never takes that spin on it. Like he's very aloof when it comes to everything. So I think I would give it a 5 because I thoroughly enjoyed it. And at the end of the day, I guess that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
Okay, 5. Go watch it. Everyone should watch this.
Yeah, I would say a 5 too. It's definitely not something I like. If Pixie hadn't been raping about it, I probably never would have watched it. But like I'm really glad that I did, and I'm also really glad that like I knew what to expect going into it, because I think you have to view it from a comedy lens and not a boys love lens, and when you view it from a comedy lens, then it makes it hilarious and very endearing and definitely worth a watch. And like it's short, it's easy to get through, like you won't regret spending 2 hours on it.
Agreed.
Okay, so that's going to be it for our spoiler-free section that you guys will find on YouTube. If you're interested in hearing the full review, you can find it over on our Patreon from the Lovecaster tier and above. And if you're interested in hearing what one of our full reviews sounds like, go check out our Color Rush review. We did put the full version of that on YouTube so you guys could get an idea of what our full detailed reviews kind of look like. So we will see you guys next week, and we're going to jump into spoilers.
Yes. There is so much to dig into.
Yeah.
I think there are so many, like, okay, one of the first things that I thought like was hilarious was when he thinks that his brother Ayato is going to die because he just read about like BLs that have a sad ending. And just the sheer panic that his brother might die because he's like been confessed to by his friend. Oh, that was perfect.
I loved the interactions between him and Ayatu, because he was just like, from like Ayatu's perspective, he looked so crazy, but he was like genuinely convinced that he was like losing his brother to like this big bad BL romance, and like it was the end, and like things were never going to be the same with his brother again. And Ayatu was just like, what the fuck is wrong with you, brother? It cracked me up.
Yeah, and the parents just sitting in the background all the time, just like being there, extras. No, it was hilarious. Oh, and the scene where the delinquent, pushes
Bumps
into the guy and
into-
gets really
Right.
angry and yells at him, and then he sees his like face and it's all angelic, and it's just starts thinking that, oh, he's got the tingles.
Yeah.
that was
It was so funny. I loved
Mhm.
when, I think it was in the first episode or chapter, when like he was like watching this guy like fall head over heels first sight for someone, and the guy was like, oh, his neck is so slim, and he was like, why do they always describe like completely normal body parts as so slim and vulnerable? I was like,
yeah.
And then he got afraid that he is like slim. And that he's gonna be in that position where someone's looking at him like that.
Yeah, it was so funny when the little brother came into the shower and they were talking about him being so slim, and he just suddenly like puts his hands across his body and just like, don't look at me like that.
yeah.
Oh, that was hilarious. When they had the sleepover, I
Yeah.
kind of had flashbacks to when I was young, because that freaking happened to me.
I've had
Like
that
kids
experience too.
having, like, they were going at
Hooking
it
up
beside
while you're
him.
in the room. Yeah.
Yeah. I felt so sorry for him.
He was like, yeah, there's no chance of me ending up as a main character, so I'll definitely get a good night's sleep. And then he was like, never mind.
On
so
both sides, two couples are like going at it. Oh, poor boy.
This is kind of jumping ahead, but I also I can't remember what his name is, but his classmate who reads or creates BL comics.
Oh, the manga author,
I
yeah.
thought that was so funny too, and how he's just creeping the whole time, even until like the very last scene.
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna get some good plots.
Yeah, he's like this, like he's modeled after like the typical like creepy fudanshi from BL mangas. With the glasses and yeah, like the sort of oily hair and
yeah.
that was something else. I was so surprised when they in the bath when they're all naked.
I was like, oh, we're actually seeing butts here. What is going on?
There are butts. And then just like, okay.
Once again, he has like one of those moments where he's like, wait, why am I here? I'm just putting myself in a really bad situation. Setting himself up for disaster in his eyes, at least.
Yeah, it's so funny to me. Like, he is like doing so much research and doing everything to like stay out of BL, but he's just digging himself even deeper.
Exactly.
And when the guy who comes on to him, who he doesn't know he's met before, who ends up being the guy at the end, and he's obsessing over what did I do to this guy to make him like give me chocolate, and like he can't remember what he did to make this guy fall in love with him.
Yeah,
and then it turns out to be like the freaking copier.
The most mundane thing. Yeah.
So mundane. But it meant a lot to that guy, apparently.
I was so adorable. I was just like, I want to put him in my pocket. He is so cute.
He was.
Yeah, I loved how they handled that like up until the very last minute, he was like there confessing to him, and his over monologue was like, no, why are we doing this? We have to stop it. And like he just like kept confessing and like asking him out on a date, and he's like, damn it, they got me, basically. I thought that was I loved how they did that.
Like, I don't have much negative to say about this show. I thought it was really entertaining, and even though you get like this sectioned off story that might make it look like there's no like cohesiveness, it still fits in. Like, it's like a bunch of mini stories that like ties together to a bigger picture.
Yeah, like an anthology.
So I just couldn't even trying to find something negative about the story. I just couldn't. I like everything about this story. I can't find anything like I would, even when I sat down and tried to find something negative, like tried to nitpick at it. I just couldn't find anything that I thought could be done differently or I mean, I think the only reason you would dislike this is if it's not your kind of humor.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think they were very like straightforward. Like you could take the show at face value. Like it wasn't trying to be something. It wasn't trying to be a romance. It wasn't trying to be a full-fledged like long arching storyline. Like for what it was, a 2-hour comedy drama, that's what you could expect from it. And I think that it's good because it didn't try and fit more than it could or be something that it wasn't advertised as. Like it just was what it said it was going to be, and they did that well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything to nitpick about either.
Yeah, I just think it was really fun to watch. Like I think anyone who watches it will not regret doing so.
Yes,
I agree. And if you read the manga, the manga goes more into detail in how he tries to avoid BL. Like there's a lot more tropes in the manga. But I do think they made the right choice to cut it down for the series to not make it too much.
Yeah.
So I just you're getting what you're getting. It's a comedy, it's a parody, it's a romance parody. It's not a bromance either, so it's not like BL baiting, right? Because there's enough BL in it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Even at the end.
I'm very curious to see if there will actually be a second season and how they will go about doing that, of like him handling the fact that he's now fallen into the quote unquote BL trap and has gotten himself into a BL romance. So I'd be really curious. I feel like it would be really funny to see him trying to navigate that as well after he spent all this time trying to avoid it.
Yeah. Because I think there's a lot of like BL tropes on how you get together. Yeah. But there's also a lot of BL tropes
in
after
a relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. So they would have material to go by.
Yeah, I definitely look out for it if it's something that'll ever happen.
Yeah, I hope they do it. And it did seem like it at the end. They kind of left it open.
That was a pretty heavy hint at, I mean, he did say, like, see you in season 2, ... if it happens. But I feel like it was pretty heavily hinted that at least it seems set up for there to be a possibility for a second season.
Yeah, I hope so.
And it's pretty popular. So, I mean, they should make a season 2.
I hope so. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think I said most of it. Like, it all comes down to that I love this show. I really, really love this show.
Yeah, I'm really glad I watched it.
Yeah, the only other thing I have is just that I love the overarching theme of the main character feeling like he's a side character or an extra in his own life. Because I've seen that that's kind of been a meme this year of people feeling like they're the side character in their own life. So I thought that was very interesting to see a story be told like that from that perspective.
Yeah.
It makes me think of that novel that Pat mentioned. I can't think of the title, but it was basically the same thing. Like the person who's the side character, like
just
viewing
an ordinary person.
Yeah, viewing the main story of like the main characters from their viewpoint. I think it's really it's a really cool viewpoint for books and shows to be exploring.
Yeah, it's so interesting. But that's it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, then that is our full review of A Man Who Defies the World of BL. If you guys check out the series, be sure to let us know what you thought about it, what you liked, what you didn't like, what rating you would give it, and be sure to recommend any other shows or movies or specials you'd like to see us review in the future. and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.